officially started. And these players already drawing their cards very vigorously there on Werner's side. And there's a handshake initiated by Tom Malucci. Very nice move here in the first round. Okay, I'm not going to talk like that for the rest of the game. But I always wanted to say something like that. Alright, there's a Summer Harvest into a Marched. That's actually not too bad for Werner. Because the Summer Harvest surely could have hit something that would have given Tom more gold here. So that's just 6 gold, and he loses his king. I'm assuming that was a mulligan for Tom Malucci, because I doubt he would set up his star on his own if that hadn't been a mulligan. So yeah, but this is rough, because now he only gets to play Khal Drogo, and depending on what Werner has here, he might really pull ahead. Small shot also coming down in Viserys. And apparently the internet connection is not doing so well. Should still be live though. Man, the internet connection up here in the castle is really not very good. I hope it's not too choppy for you guys. Yeah. The internet connection really is not too great over here. But okay. We'll cope. Okay. All right. So Werner had the wall, which is pretty good. But here's a Quotho. Now, wow, this is really getting down dirty right from the get-go. They're just gonna trade challenges here. Back and forth. Not sure who that actually favors. Doesn't look too bad for Werner though. He is discarding Arya, so he's probably got another copy in hand. And he might just drop Arya next turn and hope that's enough to keep the military challenges at bay. Really interesting decision here also for Tom. Is he gonna march? I don't think so. I think Drogo is the main instrument of his aggression here, and he really can't let go of his aggression. He's also only got 2 cards left in hand. That means he certainly has to win board dominance in some way. Alright. Now we're gonna see how Werner and Tom are deciding to follow this up. Tom just discarded a king attachment, so maybe he can play the king plot and he has a second copy of the attachment in his hand. But that's going out on a limb here. It's really difficult to tell what they're gonna do without knowing the contents of the hands. Yeah, really in a tank here. I think this is a crucial plot because the board state is so precarious. If you lose initiative, that can already spell defeat here. I think Tom Malucci might be in a better position because he can you win or you die reasonably well because he only has 2 cards in hand. But yeah, and there it is. There's the you win and or you die. It's a very nice plot here for Tom because he only had 2 cards in his hand to begin with, so he doesn't lose a whole lot, and he makes sure he wins initiative in this crucial turn, and he gets to push forward and actually generate a board advantage here, which is very nice. And he also has 2 cards in shadows, so that means if he just plays all the cards that he has in his hand, then he can still hold back the shadow cards, and that'll allow him to be more resilient against the potential reset on the next turn. Alright, of course, also using the shadows agenda there. And that's 2 gold left. Werner can't be happy about that one, because you really want to have a challenger's phase against Targaryen where they don't have any gold, so you can just challenge without having to do all the burn math. But no dice here for Werner. He will have to face that. And he's working with 6, effectively 7 gold here. So I assume there's an Arya coming down here, because I can't imagine he would discard Arya if he didn't have a second copy in hand. And then I'm also assuming you kind of have to Frozen Solid that stand on Tom Malucci's side. So there already go 4 gold. So you've got 4 left, and let's see what else you can deploy for that, and what his general game plan here is. Another reason why I think Tom Malucci's deck is actually quite ingenious is because Targaryen doesn't have very many targets for ward, but the ones they do have, like Sojora, are actually pretty good. So the agenda also allows you to play around ward, which is a very crucial factor here. So Werner doesn't even know if Tom is representing burn here, or if Tom is just gonna bring out a Jorah, for example, which really makes this a whole lot trickier for Werner. Just the amount of hidden information that Tom has on his side right now makes it just very likely that Werner is gonna make a mistake, because he can't account for all the options. Or maybe he can account for all the options, but he cannot counter all the options. Okay, so there goes the Frozen Solar that we were talking about, and an economy location, which seems to indicate that he's going for more of a attrition-based approach here that might lead into a Vala next turn, because he certainly cannot defend the military challenge right now. But again, Tom isn't forced to bring anything out of shadows here. He can just sort of pass the turn and then be very resilient to Vala next turn because of his shadow cards. Yeah, there it is. He just passes over, and now Werner's got nothing. And Werner's already used his march, so Tom Malucci is safe from that perspective. It's going to be really difficult for Werner to really do anything here. There are also only 5 locations on the board, which means that trade routes isn't going to do a whole lot. It's really, really looking tough here for Werner. Alright, so the classic you win or you die into I didn't die and now I don't really die, where you refill your hand right after the 0 reserve. pretty much a classic play right there. Alright, and they're both gonna try to get back onto the board here. It's gonna be tough for Werner though, because he's gonna eat military left, right and center against this Khal Drogo who's currently running rampant. And to make things even worse, I think Werner got to be second player again, which it's just terrible when you're facing down Khal Drogo on a nigh empty board. Yeah, I think Werner was probably hoping for a Targaryen loyalist there. But, yeah. This is gonna be rough. I think, as Werner, if you do not have a ward in hand, your best option here might to actually just pick the Jorah and maybe hope for a ward. But Tom isn't even forced to play that. Yeah, he goes with the Drogo there. But that means that he's not gonna be removing Drogo anytime soon this game. Yeah, this is gonna be rough for Werner, because now Tom is exactly in the position you want to have. And that is just due to an excellent read here by Tom, who pushed for that you win or you die. He realized that the drawback on that turn was not nearly as relevant as getting the 2 claim and winning initiative. And he went for it, and that's paying its dividends right now. Flea bottom as well, and he's got second sons in his discard pile. So yeah, it's looking really good. And Khal Drogo is a king as well, so Werner's gonna have to deal with a king plot as well next turn. There's that Arya. With a dupe. So that's gonna give Werner 2 free military challenges this turn. So he can just let the military challenges go through unopposed, and he doesn't have to worry about it too much. He's not gaining ground by doing so though. And he can't really hit Melucci back either, because he's gonna have things lying around. He will trigger the flea bottom for the second son, so that can die to claim. Still has a dupe for Drogo. Although he'd probably prefer not to use that to be absolutely sure that he can't lose to a Vala, but yeah. I think just a flea bottom activation, and if Melucci can just get one more character onto the board, plus the flea bottom activation, I think he's in excellent shape here. I don't think you can oppose with Arya here, or Summer, for what it's worth. You just have to eat the military claim. It sucks, but You can't risk just getting blown out by Burn here. Oh, that's actually a power challenge. Oh, Dave is actually tracking the challenges. I almost forgot. So you can see which challenge is currently being initiated. Just above the banners at the bottom end of the screen. Alright, so that was a power challenge. So Malucci deciding that getting rid of those Arya dupes not actually worth it. This is a very nice play here by Werner, which I actually like. I think people use Ghost to return stewards far too infrequently. What did I say? Oh, yeah. People use Ghost to return stewards way too infrequently because that's actually illegal. I was obviously returning to... I was obviously trying to refer to Summer here. So it's actually a very nice use of the card because it allows you to just play more stuff. And a lot of stuff is pretty good when you're getting hit by military. Alright. I mean, it's not looking... It's looking pretty bad for Werner, but it's not as bad as it could be. I think he has some potential to perhaps come back if he just... I mean... He could Valor now. There's no dupe on Khal Drogo anymore, right? Yeah, he just won the military challenge there, so I think he can Valor. But that runs into potential marched. No, actually no marched. And there's the Valor. So now it really comes down to what does Tom have in hand? Because he's gonna have a lot of gold this turn. But at least he didn't run into the trap of playing the king plot this turn. So yeah. Now we're gonna see what Tom Malucci has in store for us. He's got 4 cards in shadows, so I imagine there's gotta be something he can play here, right? Chat's pointing out that Tom could have had Blood Magic Ritual in his shadows here, or in his hand for that matter. But not a card you see very often, but it has the potential to be game-ending in these sort of games. But not actually sure if Tom is running the card. That would be very interesting. I would love that. Werner's looking like he's slowly but surely making his way back into this game, though. I mean, he's played passively the last couple of turns, but all of his turns just have the single goal of building a board, while slowly chipping away at Tom. And I think a lot here comes down to what Tom has in shadows. All the cards he's accumulated over the course of the game lie there. And he's got 8 gold here. So... There's got to be something there that's good. For example, a Drogon or... Yeah, I really just want to see a Drogon here, right? There it is. There is the Drogon, and that's gonna... Well, that's gonna wreck Caitlyn's ass. Yeah. We're just looking up for Werner there for a second, but I think he's lost now. Oh, yeah, and there's a Dracarys as well, for good measure, and that wipes Werner off the face of the earth. Well, that's literally gonna wipe him. Caitlyn's gonna die to Drogon, and then the steward dies to Clay. Good riddance. Well, that was pretty disgusting. I think we can goal this one. Avert your eyes, kids. Avert your eyes. Well, Tom's special tech certainly paying off. He had those cards and shadows. He could just continually put them in there, and once he had bided his time, once Werner pulled the trigger and Valard, he could just drop them all out and win the game that way. Nicely done. It's a very good game plan there, and paying off. Also, still, again, I have to mention that astute observation on the second turn that you could just go for the you win or you die. I think the combination of his deck actually being able to produce a nice safety net of shadow cards, plus the observation that he could you win or you die, really made the difference for Tom here. And of course, Werner never really found his footing in the game. But yeah, that's just how the cards broke, and Tom Malucci maneuvered that excellently. Drogon is the most American card imaginable. That is the most true statement I've seen in a while. Nicely done there, even. Yeah. It's 82 power, and I don't really see what Werner is doing to come back in this game. This is gonna be rough. But yeah, I was telling you, Werner is a really good player, but he always falls short in the cup. He always goes out in the top 32, sometimes 16, but mostly top 32. I guess this is his swan song for Stahleck 2018 as well. Kind of sad, but that's how it goes. Tom Malucci definitely put up the game that he needed to in order to best him here. I see a crown of gold there. That's probably what he's gonna put into shadows here, right? Oh no, that's not a crown of gold. Alright. Funny light reflection there. Tricking me into thinking he had a crown. But I don't think he's complaining about two characters here either. Werner can't even do any challenges really, because if he goes on the offensive, he can't defend the challenge anymore. I mean, he gets to do one challenge because he has a stand effect, but that's really all he can do, right? I don't think he can even... No, he can't even defend the challenge. And doing a military challenge doesn't do anything, because there is a claim soak lying in the back there for Tom.
You need to play a few games because there's a lot of complex interactions and certain things you can look for that help you do certain interactions.
Yeah, I think you're just doing a military challenge with Greyjohn here. That at least forces him to kneel Drogon or something. Then you stand with the armory and you try to defend the military challenge on defense, but still not looking all too great. Also because Tom still has characters in probably has characters in shadows here.
Every turn his board gets cleared. Yeah. Every turn. Last turn he had 4 characters. They're all dead now.
Yeah. I think this is just going through the motions at this point. Tom has just got all the tools he needs. I mean, you could argue that Werner's supposed to do a challenge with Greyjohn here, but to be fair, I don't think it matters. Tom, I think, also hasn't played Marched yet, so he even gets to march that Greyjohn probably next turn.
This is downhill from here. You can't survive this kind of pressure.
Huh. Well, if there's one thing these Targaryen decks are very good at, it's insult to injury. But Werner finds the line, and he sees that he can dispel that by finding a new Greyjohn. This one is new and improved, and isn't scared of dragons. But it's gonna be scared of dragons in a minute here, because I believe he's the one who's gonna bite the dust. Oh, Tom probably targeted Edward there. Yeah, I didn't see what he targeted with the Dragon is no slave. Just, yeah, he's trying to thin his deck so he doesn't draw that card. That's correct, Krevich. Yeah. Don't think there's anything he can do here, though. So yeah, pretty much just going through the motions here for Werner. I mean, he's earned his place here. He kinked the Swiss, but the curse strikes again, and he's out in the first round of the cut. But he gets his time in his in the limelight here. He gets to play another character, do another challenge, and then it's back to the grind. Back to grinding those Road to Stahleck events and come back better and stronger next year. Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's not gonna save him, but that was damn impressive. I mean, hats off to Werner for recognizing this very, very difficult play. But I mean, that's the kind of play that could have really turned the game around if he'd had that like a turn earlier or so. But yeah, that's still gonna be rough, I believe. Because at this point, it's also time is also ticking down for Werner. The thing is, you kind of don't want to do a challenge here because Dracarys is a thing, but you also can't play around anything anymore. So you are pretty much forced to do a challenge and run into the Dracarys. But, I mean, that's the right play. Maybe Tom doesn't have another Dracarys. So, I believe what Werner could do, which is quite weird, is he could go intrigue with Jorah, sacrifice the ward while Jorah is in the intrigue challenge, get control of a Missandei, then Tom Malucci wins the intrigue challenge with Jorah on defense, Jorah gets discarded, and Werner gets another character from Tom Malucci's board. I'm not exactly sure if that's exactly how it works, because I always confuse which LCGs have the rule that characters stay in challenges when they change control. I think COC was that it definitely stayed in a challenge if it changes control, and I know that first edition didn't have that rule. But maybe that's something you could do. I'm actually not sure if that's how it works in second edition, though. Okay, so Krevik tells me that they are removed when they change control. Okay, so yeah, not even that's gonna work. I'm just scraping the bottom of the barrel here, trying to figure out how Werner could do like literally anything. But well, I guess it's just not gonna happen.
El brasileño estaba ahí, casi. Me pregunta, dice, ¿juego? Las 4 cartitas aquí que tengo que tener que entrar. Sí, esa aprendí a jugar. Krijg een berry en een extra berry als je
Yeah. I mean, if you can't get rid of the Jorah, then certainly you don't want to give Jorah back to Tom. But I think Jorah's life is gonna end here anyway, when Drogon eats him alive. Not with his trigger, of course, but there's still a military claim, and I doubt Werner's gonna put the Daisy in front of the Drogon. Man, Werner's cashing in moral victory after moral victory here. But, I mean, if Game of Thrones taught us one thing, it's that moral victories don't account for damn anything. So, yeah. He's winning all the small battles. He won the rules question battle there, and, well, he's still losing the war. Classic Stark right there. Oh wow, Tom actually has to Valar himself, which is I don't think it's gonna do anything because Tom knew that he has cards and shadows, but still kind of funny how this game is actually dragging out, even though Werner's been clinically dead for like 4 turns at this point. Now, did Werner actually draw something that he can actually play? That's a thing, I guess. That is a thing. He's spending 5. That's... Why, man? That's okay. He doesn't have to deal with military this turn, so that might actually do something. But Tom has a full grip plus Marine here. I can't imagine that he doesn't have any cards he can play. Yeah, players just realized that as well. The Northern Armory was, in fact, used. There's a Marine trigger. Did he actually play any cards before this Marine trigger? I think the fact that he didn't play any cards might telegraph that he doesn't have a lot of good cards. Here's the Ye Old Scargos for another Winter Pursued. We've got a You've got to have done it at least once to know how Stark feels. Man, say what you will about Werner, but he is tenacious. Damn it. I guess if you're not tenacious, you're not going 8-0 at 300 and perhaps even more player tournament. So but Tom just playing for the win here. I mean, time is on his side, and he just needs to defend those power challenges and make sure that he stays ahead in power. And he even gets to do a military challenge for free here. No claim, but that's unopposed power. And slowly but surely this game is slipping away from Werner. Although he's at least reverted it from completely crushing to it's slowly getting out of reach. So huge props there to Werner. So Fire and Blood. Got a dragon back on the board. Second Sons say see you next round. This might be one of the rare occasions where a player gets to die twice in a game. The problem here for Werner is that his 2-claim isn't even hugely consequential, because the military challenge Tom can probably just fade by putting characters into shadows and activating his flea bottom after the military challenge. The intrigue challenge Tom doesn't really care about at this point because it's all about power and board position. So really Tom's just has to focus on winning the power challenge, which should be doable because he's already getting 6 strength for the power from his discard pile. And yeah, Werner realizes that he needs to have something really good here. And sacrifices the steward there. Did he trigger that steward before sacrificing it? I actually didn't catch that. But yeah, that's a frozen solid on Quoth. And I believe now we can finally say that this game is slowly but surely coming to a close. It's gonna be really tough for Werner to just survive this turn. And there's the handshake, so, well, the old story continues. first seed is cursed. If you want to win a tournament, you better come in last seed after the Swiss and then submarine your way to victory. That's just how it goes. Well, congratulations to both of these players. They still made the cut in an incredibly large field, and they showed awesome games. And yeah, that's really all that is to it there. And we're gonna have a short break, I believe, and then we're back with the top 16. And I will personally make sure that it's not Stark and Autark again, at least on one side of the table. I promise. All right. See you in a couple. Ich glaube, den Tom jetzt nochmal zu holen, ich weiß nicht, ob das so sinnvoll ist. Ich glaube nicht. Ja, ich glaube, den einfach mal in Ruhe lassen. Lassen wir es mal sein und vielleicht haben wir ja jetzt mal ein Spiel, wo jetzt kein Stark oder Tag ist und dann haben wir vielleicht auch wieder so ein sinnvolles Interview. Und ich weiß auch nicht, was ich jetzt fragen soll. So, ja, was machst du denn in so dem Matchup, was ich jetzt so seit 10 Stunden hier den Leuten versuche zu sagen?
Top 16 ist jetzt das letzte für euch. Wollen wir vielleicht doch mit dem Vienna kurz reden, wenn ihr Bock habt. Also, okay, ich weiß nicht, ob du irgendwas Sinnvolles haben willst.
Also ich habe
zu Hause aus nichts zu Reden, dann
also ich hab jetzt keine Fragen, wenn das Spiel versucht zu notieren oder so. Und die Spiel war jetzt.
fragst du, was schiefgelaufen ist.
Wenn der Werner fragen willst, dann frag den Werner mal.
Ab geht's, ja. Das wird jetzt so episch.
Boah, die Hand, die er da eben gezogen hat. Ich dachte, oh, jetzt spielt er doch mal You Know You Die. Oder er kriegt ja doch irgendwas Episches. Und dann nur Limited. Wow. Weil er immer so lange durchgehalten hat. Kannst ja auch mal Facecam ausprobieren, ne? Ist ja an.
Ich glaube, ich passe. So, dann mach mal Platz für den Werner, falls er
Wenn
kommt.
er jetzt kommt.
Das wird episch, ey. das Ding. Bitteschön. Herzlichen Glückwunsch zur Erfüllung des King of Swiss Curses. Danke, danke.
Ja, aber kommentierst du eigentlich, oder?
Ja, ja. Ja, ja, das Mikro, das nimmt sehr zentral hier auf. Also am besten einfach so reinreden. Ich mache das so und dann reiche ich es dir rüber, ne? Alright, we have a ironic winners interview right now with Werner, who made King of Swiss, surprising everyone, and then lost in the cut, also surprising everyone. Really rough on him here, and I'm actually feeling sorry, but I'm being coerced into doing this by some treacherous people over there, and so I feel compelled to ask though, what went wrong there?
Well, I guess it's not a very good matchup for me, and in general, I would say not drawing. Oh, basically drawing 1 limited in 7 plots didn't help, and drawing 5 limiteds in the last plot didn't help either.
Yeah, I mean, we all saw that final hand there, and that was very much a displeasure to watch there. You go down like that after 8 rounds of being undefeated. That's it's just not a very good feeling. I mean, we've probably all been there. So now that I think about it, I don't think many of us have actually been there. So still, congratulations for making 8-0. And I think that's really a testament to being a good player, is making the cut repeatedly, and you just perform very well at each Stahleck, and you make the cut, I think, almost every Stahleck. So I think you're just an excellent player, and if you keep at it, you're gonna have your success sooner or later. And I think we're gonna see you next Stahleck as well, right?
Yes, definitely. I'm quite happy to having it made that far. I didn't imagine before that, so I'm quite happy being King of Swiss by SOS. So yeah, it's that's how the system works. Unlucky draw and a few mistakes here and there. Playing the Vala early maybe wasn't too smart, and a few other mistakes too. Yeah, maybe I will perform better next year on stream.
Sure, and I would be very glad to cover that. So thank you very much, and until next year.
Until next year, bye.